consoles. Sonic the Hedgehog is a video game character and the hero of a video game series released by Sega, as well as numerous spin-off comics, cartoons, and books. The first game in the franchise was released on June 23, 1991, in order to provide Sega with a mascot to rival Nintendo's flagship character, Mario. Since then, Sonic has become one of the world's best-known video game characters, with his series having sold over 45 million copies. In 2005, Sonic was one of the first game character inductees into the Walk of Fame, alongside Mario and Link. Artist Naoto Oshima, designer Hirokazu Yasuhira, and programmer Yuji Naka are generally credited with the creation of the character, a blue anthropomorphic hedgehog whose ability to run faster than the speed of sound is a major part of the gameplay of the series. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or Super NES, also called SNES and Super Nintendo, is a 16-bit video game console that was released by Nintendo in North America, Europe, Australia, and Brazil between 1990 and 1993. In Japan and Southeast Asia, the system is called the Super Family Computer, Super Famicom, or SFC for short. In South Korea, it is known as the Super Comboy and was distributed by Hyundai Electronics. Although each version is essentially the same, several forms of regional lockout prevent direct compatibility. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System was Nintendo's second home console, following the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES. The console introduced advanced graphics and sound capabilities that compensated for its relatively slow CPU compared with other consoles at the time.
It's the Wrath of the Gods.
The Sega Saturn is a 32-bit video game console. First released on November 22, 1994, in Japan, May 11, 1995, in North America, and July 8, 1995 in Europe. The system was supported in North America and Europe until late 1998, and in Japan until the end of 2000. The PlayStation is a 32-bit video game console of the 5th generation that was first released by Sony Computer Entertainment in December 1994. The PlayStation was the first ubiquitous PlayStation series of console and handheld game devices, which has included successor consoles and upgrades, including the Net Yaroze, a special black PS with tools and instructions to program PS games and applications, PS1, a smaller version of the original, Pocket Station, a handheld which enhances PS games and acts as a memory card, PlayStation 2, a revised slimline PS2, PlayStation Portable, a handheld gaming console, PSX, Japan only, a media center, DVR and DVD recorder based on the PS2, and PlayStation 3. By March 31, 2005, the PlayStation and PS1 had shipped a combined total of 102.49 million units, becoming the first video game console to reach the 100 million mark. The PlayStation 1 was also the first console to use 3D imagery in its gameplay. The Nintendo 64, often abbreviated as N64, is Nintendo's third home video game console for the international market. Named for its 32 64-bit processor, it was released on June 23, 1996 in Japan, September 29, 1996 in North America, March 1, 1997 in Europe and Australia, and September 1, 1997 in France. The system also saw a release in South America in partnership with Gradient Electronica. It was released with 2 launch games, Super Mario 64 and Pilotwings 64, plus 1 in Japan. The N64's suggested retail price was US $199 at its launch, and it was later marketed with the slogan, "Get in or get out." The Sega Dreamcast, codenamed White Belt, Black Belt, Thurl, Drekus, Vortex, Katana, Shark, and Guppy during development, is Sega's last video game console and the successor to the Sega Saturn, an attempt to recapture the console market with a next-generation system. It was designed to supersede the PlayStation and Nintendo 64. Originally released 16 months before the PlayStation 2 and 3 years before the Nintendo GameCube, the Xbox and the Dreamcast is part of the 6th generation of video game consoles. Dreamcast was widely hailed as ahead of its time, and is still held in high regard for pioneering online console gaming. Nevertheless, it failed to gather enough momentum before the release of the PlayStation 2 in March 2000, and Sega decided to discontinue the Dreamcast in March 2001, withdrawing entirely from the console hardware business. However, support continued in Japan, where consoles were still sold and new games are still being made by the homebrew community.